After I reviewed the Orion 9000, I didn't think I'd actually get a chance to look at the Orion X. I thought they might not want me to, but I have got one. So let's take a look at it after I quickly pay some bills for this video sponsor. If you're fed up with the high costs from the Microsoft Office suite or incompatibility and formatting problems from trying alternative solutions, then look no further than Truly Office. Truly Office offers software for document processing, spreadsheets and slides for both Windows and Mac, with cloud support, seamless integration, regular updates and data privacy protection as standard. With lifetime licenses and affordable options for students, business users and whole households, Truly Office is a fantastic, affordable, one-time purchase alternative to the competitors. It's also backed with tons of 5-star reviews and with 24/7 support, and like Kelly Rowland, you're not going to be left on spread. Visit the link in the description box to learn more and use code ASH15 at checkout to save an additional 15%. So if you missed the Orion 9000 review, it wasn't overly favourable. Basically I roasted Acer, much like the processor got roasted from their lack of cooling. Ooh, shots fired. But we have got the Orion X today, which is their newer version, and they have changed a lot of things. It's a smaller form factor, but it does have some upgraded cooling, which is one thing I did want to see drastically. So we are going to have a little look. This is my first impressions. I've not seen one of these in person yet, so this will be my first time seeing it. I know roughly of the specs. I have got them to the side of me so we can go through them as we kind of get there, but let's see what we've got. So some nice foam to protect it. I'd hope this would be very well padded because it is over 3 grand, so we'd want to see that. I guess it kind of opens out, but I don't really want to cut the box to do that, as this is a rotated sample, so we should just leave it as is. In the accessory box we've got a little handle you can add onto the top if you want to make it a little bit more portable. We've got a power adapter. There's also some additional screws and just basic bits, extra cables if you want to add any SATA drives, for example, some extra storage. There's also a right angle to 12-watt high power cable adapter there as well, so presumably if you want to change the graphics card at some point you need to use a right angle, it is included, which is a nice little addition. So a very compact unit compared to the 9000 that we looked at before, pretty much half the size, but they have upgraded some things, which is a good thing to see as well considering the form factor. This has got the i9 3900KS, so the speed binned SKU, the highest that was available at the time they put this together. It's also got a 4080 in it. You can get it the 4090. We'll talk more about pricing and stuff later on. So let's have a look around the system itself. We'll just tilt it up to show you the front. So looking at the top of it, we've got a little plastic panel. You can actually take this off, it's just magnetic. Then there's also a little flap that will come down to reveal an external hot swap SSD. You can put one in there, and then you've got one that you can take out, just plugs in with USB-C, and you can use that as a little external drive if you're away from home. It just slots in like that. And then we've also got a USB Type-C, a headphone microphone jack, and also a full-size USB-A. Let's cover off the little zones. These just flick up and then allow us to open the respective panels, so we can lift this off now. So just a standard panel on the side, there's no filtration or anything on there. We have got an SFX PSU, it looks like. Not sure what wattage this is. I believe they used an 850 last time, so I'd expect it to be something in that kind of realm. So this is using an ITX motherboard, and then we've got the 13900KS underneath. This goes to a 240mm AIO. It's an upgrade from the 120, I'll give them that, that was in the 9000, and it's certainly nice to see an upgrade, but that's a maximum rated 150 watt cooler, and the 13900KS at turbo can go up to 253 watts. So it will remain to be seen in the testing if that's adequate enough. I would like to see some lower voltage in the BIOS for the chip, and then that obviously keep the heat down, but we'll see. They do have the overclocking program that will fluctuate that, so we'll just see how many volts it's pumping through and kind of go from there. Now I believe Acer use Cooler Master for their AIOs, so I believe that will be the same case here. Again, it's really hard to tell because nothing is branded, but I will go on that same assumption considering it does look very similar. Other things we've got to talk about, we've got a riser cable that goes around to the other side, so this will be a Gen 4 riser. and then the graphics card will be on the other side. We'll look at that in a minute. This NVMe, I believe, is a 1 TB in this model. The storage seems to be on like a little carrier card with a heatsink on the top, so it might be that you can add an additional one underneath, but that's something I will cover in the review. Down in the corner there's the Wi-Fi 6E card, quite difficult to see, but hopefully you'll be able to see that if I can zoom in the edit. Nice to see we have got some heat sinks on the DDR5. That's one thing I mentioned in the last review. They had just plain green sticks, which I think are really fugly, so it's nice to see we've got some black heat spreaders on these ones. These are ADATA. These are 6000, so even higher than the spec that I actually thought we were going to be looking at, so that's nice to see. Hopefully it'll be enabled in the BIOS as well, so we're actually going to get that speed. Let's also go round to the back while we're here to talk about the I/O, because for a Z790 motherboard I would like to see some more I/O. For example, this is the Acer Strix B760-i. This is the lower end for the 13th gen, being the B series, but this alone has got the USB Type-C header, got the USB 3, and it has an additional USB Type-C connector, something which we don't have on this motherboard, and even some more I/O for the audio as well, and your Wi-Fi antenna points. This has got Wi-Fi 6E built into it, but there's no antennas. So I think there's just a little bit more they could do with the I/O. I said the same thing on the last Orion as well. I did feel it was a little bit lacking for options on the back. So I've also got 3 display ports and then 1 HDMI for the graphics card output. Let's go around to that side now. To the front again and lift up the Zone 2 side. Lift up 45 degrees and it comes away. Now we can see the 4080. This is a triple slot card, although not very long. We do generally see the 4080s to be longer than this, so it is quite a small card. I did find some other UK media that had this system and tore that down and didn't find an OEM for it, so just hopefully they've picked someone very reliable for it. The system as a whole has got a 1-year warranty, which I think is a little bit low. I'd like to see 2, ideally 3. A lot of AIOs come with 3-year warranties, so I think that should be covered. And then all the rest of the components generally have similar length warranties anyway, so yeah, a little bit strange on that one. I don't know if you can see, but it says it's down connected there onto the riser cable. That is a Gen 4 like I'd hoped. Then it's a 16GB RTX 4080 in there, so the standard you see for that kind of card. Now we've got some grills on the AIO fans, so no cables are going to get stuck, so that's a good thing to see. Now for our last zone, if we just turn this up, on the back of there's no filtration or anything like that, but we are going to be exhausting hot air out the top, so you wouldn't really need it anyway. Nothing really to talk about. You can see the radiator on there. It's just like a standard Acer design. Nothing really to write home about, but the 150 watt TDP limit I'm a little bit worried about. But we shall see in the testing. I'm going to quickly power this up, obviously get some first sound impressions as well. But you can see the RGB and things that are on the system itself. Zone 1, we've got the RGB on the pump, and then also the RGB on the AIO. You can see that just underneath there. Some white lighting on the 4080. I don't know if there's any other RGB. Very nice white though, but it is just a pure white LED, so that's why it's so vibrant. It's all configurable as well in the Predator Sense software. That will be something that I'll be covering when I do my review. Seems like this SFX power supply is semi-passive as well, because it's not spinning the fan under a low load, so that's keeping the sound down as well. Overall though, I am impressed for what they've done in a very compact system. Let's quickly talk about price, because that's the one thing that can put you off something rather quickly. This one with the 4080 is currently on Currys for £3,799, which is an eye-watering amount of money. In terms of other systems that are available, for example, CyberPower have a similar system with the same processor and also a 4080 Super for £1,000 less. So you do pay for the compactness of this system, and I believe they had a 360mm AIO in that system as well. So, and then much like I said in the last video as well, the components will be off-the-shelf components rather than ones that are just built for this that are unbranded. So it's a difficult pill to swallow, the price of these systems, but I'll touch more on that in the review, because obviously I need to get some benchmarks and numbers out of it to see if I think it's actually justifiable for someone that wants a small system like this, if you know it's worthy of that price and things. So I hope you enjoyed this little overview. Stay tuned. Any questions you've got, anything you want to know, do leave them in the comments box. I'll take all that into consideration for my review. But it's quiet so far. Let's see if I can make that change. But it's certainly a step in the right direction though. They have taken on some feedback So let's hope they continue taking on feedback. Another thing I want to quickly say is that AP201 from Acer is a very small form factor case, not too much bigger than this, and I could take a 360. So that's something I would say to them, is certainly consider a 360mm AO for the next iteration. I'm sure they can do it. But for now, that's it for this one. Any more questions, like I said, leave them in the comments box. Thank you to Acer for sending this out for me to look at. A review will be up very soon, so get subscribed and ding the bell so you don't miss it. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.